Hello, and welcome to Coding Koans, where together we'll explore the world of software, get better jobs, and change the world. So this is the show where we're just going to basically pair program on software, and we're just going to have a fun time doing it. And with me today is Byron Woodfork. Say hi to everyone, Byron.
How's it going, everyone?
Cool. So have you ever noticed that, like, as software developers, we say cool way too often? I feel like it's the only word we know.
Yeah, like take it to the extreme and say cool, cool, cool 3 times.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, Byron, why don't you tell everyone about how you got involved with software? Or actually, maybe I should first give the bio that you so kindly wrote. Where'd it go? Oh, hold on. I got it. I swear. I'm good with this. I know how to do things. Okay, here we go. Byron is a lead software engineer who's passionate about forming awesome teams, writing quality code, public speaking, and mentoring. Byron has always held a strong passion for tinkering with technology, and that led him down his chosen career path. As a senior engineer, Byron enjoys helping mentor developers of all levels, working towards improving code quality, team processes, and company culture. So that is your official intro. Welcome again, Byron.
Sweet, thank you, thank you.
So why don't you tell me what got you into software?
What got me into software development is like a very slippery slope. It started from designing MySpace page layouts using HTML and CSS. When I was younger, around like 16 or so, people would actually pay me to design their MySpace page layouts. So from there, just spiraled. And it wasn't until like way later in life, around like 25, that I realized that I could like do this for a career, not necessarily designing MySpace page layouts, but the whole coding aspect.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I've heard a lot of people saying they started out with like MySpace or like Tamagotchi pets or something like that.
Yeah. MySpace is underrated for what it did for both social media and junior developers out
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah, you don't get the same experience with Facebook, do you?
You do not.
So, cool. Right now, what are you really into lately? I mean, there's software. Like, what are your favorite things about software? Or your favorite programming languages? Yeah, any of that sort of stuff.
It's a great question. One of my favorite programming languages is TypeScript. One of the reasons being, I feel like it helps JavaScript not suck by helping fix a bunch of the issues that like a lot of people have with JavaScript, as well as adding types to the equation too. And just like for my personal preference, I really like functional programming. So whether it's using functional programming languages or using object-oriented languages to adapt to some functional paradigm, that's like my thing. And then in terms of like, I don't know, what I am into, I've actually been thinking a lot lately about just doing more uh, community organization coding stuff. So anything that would help just the world and like create some sort of impact. I don't have like any master solutions just yet. However, like this is something that's been baking in my brain. So I'm sure some new side projects will come of it at some point.
That's yeah, I find that really interesting. It's software. It seems like people who are software professionals oftentimes take a different attitude than what you would get from, I don't know, accounting or you know, stock portfolio management or something of that nature. So when you said change the world, I know that I mentioned that at the top of the show, but what do you mean, and how do you do that with software?
Yeah, so similar, and I like the thing that you touched upon with like accountants and like people that are in like financial aspects of the corporate world. So one really cool thing about software is that you could be in that corporate world if you wanted to be, and in that financial sector, or you could not. And like a really big benefit is that either way, you can make a lot of money, right? So by like making an impact, just in the sense of, for me, in my personal experience, I think that one really strong way that we can make an impact with software in the world is keeping in mind the people whom essentially get looked over in society, right? Like the people that are underrepresented, the people that are of lower income, for example, right? There's a lot of solutions to problems that people are coming up with in like Silicon Valley to essentially like handle and solve issues that rich people have, right?
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Can you get me a sandwich in under 10 minutes?
Right.
That
Yeah.
kind of thing for $30.
Yeah. So exactly. Yeah, so I think that there is like a really big aspect that gets overlooked, and it's the people that don't fall into those categories. And I think that, when we as software developers start to look more towards those people and helping them out, I think it will lead to us, one, creating like even bigger like impact from just like a world perspective with our software, and two, just generally just doing some good, right? It's like, yeah, it's really awesome when you can do good in the world, and it's awesome equally when you can make money for it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty cool. Okay, well, I'm going to roughly transition into the next thing that we're going to do. So, are you ready to just immediately dive into some code?
Sweet, let's do it.
Now, you said you liked TypeScript, but
I do.
we're not going to do TypeScript today. We're going to do something that is almost the opposite of TypeScript. Let me share my screen with you so that you can see what's going on. And this is pretty much exactly the same way we would work if we were just pair programming. All right, let me just go and find our Zoom thing again, bring it back. Okay. Looks like I didn't break anything doing that. That's great. Okay, cool. So now, get that zoom bar out of the way. There we go. Cursive zoom bar.
Yeah,
Always. All right. So the code we're going to be working on today is something that I've put together, and it is, I'm both proud of it and also ashamed of it. So keep that in mind. It is a trivia bot that is for Outpost 13. It's actually for the chat.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm seeing someone trying to actually make bot commands in our chat window. Currently, that bot is not up, and sorry about that. And it's probably my fault. So it's one of the things that you have to accept as a software developer, is that when things break, it's your own fault. But you also have the power to fix them. Unfortunately, it's probably not going to be fixed in an hour. But we can give the old try for this. This is basically a Twitch bot right here. Now it's going to be written in Python, which, as you said before, Byron really likes type safety, which Python does not have.
Nope.
He likes statically typed languages, which Python is not. It's dynamically typed. Also, you like functional languages, which Python is object-oriented.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much almost the reverse of what you prefer.
It's the hat trick for personal preferences.
Right, yeah. As software developers, we get very strong opinions about stuff all the time. So I'm just noticing that my volume is a little high and yours is maybe a little low. So I'm going to bring your volume up a little bit to match everybody's. Cool. So here we go. So this is so basically how a Twitch trivia bot works. If you're in the chat is nothing more than something called an IRC, which I believe is Internet Relay Chat, if I remember correctly. Maybe we should Google that.
Because I see that phrase all the time and I've never Googled it. I just know that it means it's a chat
That's the
thing.
International Rescue Committee. That's not it.
Oh, okay.
Internet
Yeah,
Relay Chat. Here we are.
there
There's a
we go.
Wikipedia
Yeah.
article for it. So, it is an application layer protocol that facilitates communication in the form of text. It's a chat. Um,
Sweet.
and it's basically how most chats are done, I believe, is through IRC. But definitely the one that's done in Twitch is using this same protocol, the same way of constructing an app. And if you wanted to find out more, you can actually find the actual. Maybe we can find the RFC documents for this, because there are. It's a public it's a public standard. Yeah. Aaron, A Harvey 2K has already said Internet Relay Chat.
Oh, yeah. There we
I
go.
just caught that. So yeah.
Mob pairing.
Yeah, mob pairing. That's right. This is almost a mob programming session in that sense, because we have the whole chat as part of our mob. If you don't know about mob programming, it's basically pair programming when you have more than two people. And since everyone in the chat can help us out as we're working on this and catch bugs and things like that, we're essentially all mob programming together right now.
Yeah.
Let's see here. But this is all free stuff. Like, this is open and free technology. And that's what's really cool about it, is that you can learn how it works. So, you know, this is how you join the channel. So this is what's going on under the hood. When you log on to Twitch, you're actually getting logged onto an IRC server, or a modified one, I should say, because they don't quite implement it the way that the specs are here. It's close, but not exactly the same. Certain features they don't do, other ones they do. Depends on what they want people to be able to do and not do. Some of this stuff would be pretty dangerous to just completely open it up. So let's get into the code. I'm using GitHub here. And GitHub is a place where you can share code that you're writing with other people so that you can collaborate together on what it is that you're making. And what I did was actually forked this code from myself into the Coding Koans repo. And you'll see actually the URL right up here, and that's public. So if you see it, you can go ahead and go there as well. You can check out the code yourself. You can even submit pull requests. And as long as you're nice, which is not very hard to do, then we're very happy to have any suggestions or contributions that you would suggest. Speaking of which, this code came from this person right here, ClearTonic. I've never met ClearTonic. I have no idea who he or she is, or they are. But they originally made this Twitch trivia bot, and I searched for it and I found it. And they've gone through some changes in the code themselves since when I got it. So you can see that code here. But when I forked it, it was a one-page Python script. And this is it. Assuming that can go there. So, all right, so this is the original code, and it is...
It's a lot of code on one file.
It is. It's a good amount of code on a single file. This isn't uncommon to see, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it should be done. And by the way, I should add that ClearTonic has since refactored this code.
Oh,
so
sweet.
it does not look like this anymore. But when he was first starting, he, she, they, I don't know the pronoun, I shouldn't assume male. Programmers are typically considered to be male, and I think that that's wrong. I think that we need programmers of all different types working. But when ClearTonic, when I forked this from ClearTonic, this was the state of the code. So this is a lot to read, right? Like, this would be a lot to read for anybody, and for developers, it's a lot to read too. So trying to figure out how to fix things or change things in this code meant that I chose instead to start to write my own version of this based off of this cribbing for notes from this one file and creating a new one. That new one has not actually been run on Twitch yet, but I do have a number of tests around it, which this one had one file with no tests. Byron, when you're looking at this code, what are you seeing?
Apart from really long, are there any method names in here?
No. What there are. Validate
Okay,
columns.
cool.
This one I
All
wrote
right.
actually, so this was something I wrote to work a little better than what it was before.
Gotcha.
But there's a few in here. Here's a class, a chatvar class, which looks like it's a sort of an in-memory bucket so that the chat can remember things about itself.
I see.
And then the rest of the code will ask that class about stuff. Here's
Okay.
a helpful comment right here. This is code. Oh.
Sweet. Yeah. I mean, you gotta have that.
So Byron and I both ascribe to a form of development that doesn't use very many comments, and instead the idea is to have the code document itself. That being said, I want to point out that we should not disparage ClearTonic's work. That what ClearTonic did gave us the foundation for what we're going to build next. So if we're pointing out a lot of very things that we would consider to be like, maybe not the best thing, it's in love. We are very appreciative of the fact this code is here.
Yeah, +1 that. Yeah, so for this, or at least from what I can tell, there isn't very much like separation when it comes to whether it be responsibilities through classes and whatnot. A lot of stuff is like here in this one individual file. So one way to potentially improve it moving forward is to separate some of these things out to methods that are smaller, a bit more legible, like follow the single responsibility rule.
What's the single responsibility rule?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked. The single responsibility rule is, I'm pretty sure I'm going to butcher this and definitely don't know it word by word, but it's an idea that stems from what's called the solid principles. And it's the first principle. So essentially a method or a class should just do one thing, and it should do that one thing well, ideally. Yep, so let's pull that up in Wikipedia. So SOLID, and the single responsibility rule is probably the most important that I would say for any new or experienced developer to master and study. As I feel like once you learn this, you've learned a lot about writing much better code and or better. From an opinionated standpoint, of course. But
well, yeah, but I would say it's easier to change if you know that when you change in one place, it changes everything across the entire code base, and you don't have to go and hunt and peck for things, right?
Yep.
And so that's the benefit, is that, you take a little bit more time to think about it up front, but you end up investing in the future of that future you, when future you looks at your code, doesn't go, what? So
yeah, and I guess something else to keep in mind too. I forget, the ClearTonic is the name of the person that made the bot. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like with all this code like living in this one file, I'm pretty sure like whoever this person is, they weren't planning to like deploy this into production over like several different instances and whatnot, right? Like this isn't like professional code, so a lot of us will put together some stuff as quick as possible. So
just from create a proof of concept. They're not really planning on doing a whole bunch of things. I took this code and tried to generalize it more, so that I could change it to whatever, bend it to my will in any way I liked. Make it do things that had nothing to do with trivia, but it still is a chatbot. So here's my version of this, which is a lot shorter. Now that's because a lot of things are happening under the hood. You see all these things I'm bringing in. I'm bringing in a bot, I'm bringing in a configuration, I'm bringing in a connection, I'm bringing in a commander, which I'm bringing in commands. And I'm bringing in some mocks for our socket. I'm bringing in a mock socket rather than the real one, because if I brought in the real one, it would actually try and connect to Outpost 13.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Which I've never tried before. I might be tempted to do that. I'm getting there's a comment here. I'd imagine too many comments is better than too few, especially in workplaces on projects. I mean, it can be, but if you write your code the right way, what it says is exactly what it is, and there isn't too much to read. So this is my way of commenting, is I comment with the code itself.
Yeah. So, and I have like some opinions on that as well. So, what you'll get with a lot of people that tend to write comments is they feel like they need to explain in English what the code already says, but like you can write code in English or whatever language you want to write it in for that matter. So you don't necessarily need to describe what it's doing all the time. However, if there's something that you feel is like a complex thing or something that you come across that you're like, okay, not a lot of people are gonna understand this or know why I did this, and you want to explain why you did a thing, then in that case, I would suggest leaving some comments, right? Like the code like tells you what it does. The comments can tell you why as an option.
True, yeah. But if you write tests, you can also include comments that way and show people how to use the code and how it's put together. Yep. So for that, let's actually look at the actual code. So I'm going to bring up a code editor here. And this is the same project. It's just local. I cloned it from GitHub and have a local version of it right here, with everything that was there before, including the file that was there, which, assuming that yeah. So yeah, it's all still here, basically, is the point.
Sweet.
Okay, so, but I also have tests. And let's see here. Doesn't look like I have any tests at the top level, but I probably have some tests for the connection, let's say. So, connection successfully connects to Twitch. So let's say IRC URL is going to be some Twitch URL, an IRC port. I'm going to say 1701 because why not? I like Star Trek. Bot name, crash test dummy bot. OAuth token, my awesome OAuth token here. But this is kind of what an OAuth token would look like. And then a channel. In this case, I'm going to the Home Shopping Network. And I'm going to create a little spy. I'm going to tell it, don't sleep. I don't want it to sleep. Then I'm going to call the thing right here. Let me make this code just a little smaller. So, does that work? Yeah. Good. Now you can see it all in one. So, and basically we have our subject, which is defined here. So we're going to bring in the connection as a subject. We're going to create a version of that. We're going to instantiate it and we're going to include don't print and don't sleep, but we're going to create a spy for the socket so that we're going to see stuff coming out from the mock socket on the other side. So how long it sleeps is determined by how many time.sleep calls I put in the code, just so you know. That is because the original code had sleep in it. We're using spies here. Spies to look into the code and tell us like what it's going to produce. And so we're going to ask it like, hey, does it try and do this? Does it try and do this? Does it try and do that? These are the things it's supposed to do. It's supposed to hand this off. It's supposed to connect this way. It's supposed to use this nickname, which is our crash test dummy bot name. This is all that a bot actually is. It's just this stuff. And then it joins whatever channel it's going to join, and that's it. Let me quickly show what asleep is. Let's look at the Twitch trivia bot here. Command F, and here it is. So there's this thing in Python that you can call. It's called time. And there's a method inside of it called sleep. And in this case, it's calling for the trivia question delay time, which is going to be, I believe sleep is written in seconds. Different programming languages have different sleeps. Some of them use milliseconds, some use seconds, so you have to kind of look it up a little bit. But if I let it sleep for that amount of time, the tests would take forever. So I don't want that. Actually, you know what? Let me demonstrate that. Let's go back to where was that test? Test connection. Cool. So let's bring up a terminal. And here we have all of our tests. And I'm going to run this magic incantation that's going to run all the tests that I've written. I've written every single one of the tests that's here. Bam. That fast. It ran through 88 tests, and all of them turned out okay. If we did something to make this different, maybe they don't use nick anymore to mean your name, so now it's just called name, let's say. Save that, and I run this again. We should get one failure if I did this right. Hey, I did it right. That's nice. And then you can see what the failure is right here. And the failure says, here we are, assertion error, B, nick crash test dummy bot is not the same as B, name crash test dummy bot.
Say that 5 times fast.
Oh my God, why did I write it that way? I guess I didn't expect to actually be explaining it. So we put that back. By having all these tests here, it means that I can change things in the code and know that if I make a mistake in the code, my tests will catch it. It'll make sure that I'm not accidentally changing things I don't mean to change. Crash test tummy bot. Yeah. Thanks, McCready13. Thank you for that. So, spy versus tummy is now what I'm seeing. Ridiculous. Ridiculous people. Yeah, that's what these tests do. But let's say that we don't want it, maybe we don't want to use don't sleep. Maybe instead we put in time.sleep right here. Let's see if I can do that. This might break some stuff because I might need to import time. No, I have a mock time, but not time. So I'm going to need to not mock the time, I'm going to need to actually call the time. So in order to do this right, improt. That's what syntax highlighting is good for. Lets you see right away if you've made some sort of mistake. All right, so we got time.sleep in here now, right? And we should see that this slows down a little bit. See? It stopped for a second. But we can see this more clearly if we don't just put it in here. Let's say that we take that time and make it exactly that. So let's not use this. Let's comment out this line. So basically what that does is it means it won't read it. It's now going to treat it like it's a comment. Then we're going to do import time.sleep as time. I think that should do it. I think that should make the whole file slow down. because now whenever it looks for time, it's going to find time.sleep. It's going to find the real time, not the mock time.
You've got a red squiggly.
Yeah, I do have a red squiggly. Why? Can't import time.sleep from time. Let's try it that way. Import sleep. Will that work? Come on. Or is that just, it's just being slow? Yeah, there it is. That's just the editor being slow. But thankfully, it gets mad at me sometimes. And when it does, we can address those little issues. What is the problem? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not used anymore. You do have a red squiggly in 24 as well.
Yeah. I think it's because I'm doing this wrong. I think actually I do need to.
Yeah, I think right now instead of time.sleep, you just call sleep because you're.
Yeah, I think maybe I do.
Sleep as time.
Come on. All right.
Or it may be, let's see, import time
as time.
As time, yeah. So in that case, you would use time with a capital T.
Yeah, because that's why I have it in the rest of my code base. So that's how the rest of my code base understands what this is, but it just doesn't know what that is. This is the only place that it actually knows. Otherwise, it's going to be like, what's a time? Well, that created a bunch of errors, 15 of them. Looks like I'm not really going to be able to demonstrate this as well as I was hoping I would be able to. But that's what you get for live coding. So let's put it back the way it was. Okay. Should be fine now. Let's just double check. All good. No, it's not. Wait.
Line 23, name time, boom.
Needs to be called don't sleep. I was too clever naming these. It's too clever. This proves it. Just, you thought you were so smart doing it that way. It's fine now. Everything's back the way it was. Of course, the other way to do that is to do git status. So I could check the differences between something if I just like botched something. Just delete a bunch of stuff. Git status. You'll see it's there. But I can do git reset -- hard. It should go right back to where it was. Yep. Okay, so that's the power of version control helping us out there. All right. So we've been sort of mucking about this code and looking at what a test is and how to do this kind of work. We haven't really seen what the actual code is yet. Let's look at the source code for that. So this was testing the connection. This one is probably one of the longest bits, but everything that has to do with actually connecting to Twitch is in here. And I tried to keep it simple as possible. Some of this stuff is left over from the way in which the Cleartonics trivia bot worked, which includes this header pattern, which I just labeled up here. This was just buried in the code someplace, so I decided to just put this at the top. But you can see this is how it's initializing itself. And these are the things that we put into it. Connect to socket. Here is our log, and our sleep, which we can, if we don't include these in, it just uses the one that's right here, time.sleep, and print. Oh, we could have done it that way. That would have been simpler. Just delete it. Okay, never mind. So here we have our different methods: send, scan for a message, scan. This is to report back when you find something. If the connection is a ping, send a pong. Okay, so what's that about? It's a ping. How's it a ping? If it returns the response, this. If send a pong, we're going to call the socket, which is going to be the actual thing that connects to Twitch, and we're going to tell it send this bit of text, and then we're going to encode it with UTF-8.
So is this to actually send data, or is this just to ping Twitch's server to see whether or not we have an open connection?
This is actually Twitch pinging us.
Okay.
Twitch pings the bots every once in a while, and if they don't send back a pong, it gets mad.
Okay.
So that's why it's here. Here's send creds, send bot name, join the channel. See, these are all pretty self-explanatory. Here's another self.sleep. There would have been time.sleep before. 1 second before you say hello. And then, so I've got all like the strings in like one place, and I'm feeling like we've talked a lot about code for a little while and just explaining how this thing is going. This is the connection part of it. But maybe there's something in here. What's our commands look like? Right, this was kind of interesting. So this is the all class for commands. And all commands is this, whatever this tuple is, for go or stop, let's say. So when we call the go command, this happens. And when stop, this happens. So if I look at the stop, for example, that should be pretty simple. So this is the text that someone would write. And I could write anything I want. It doesn't have to have an exclamation point in the front of it. If I want to really confuse people, I can do something like that and make that the stop. Although I think I might need to escape out that character.
And what you mean by the text that people will write, you mean within the Twitch chat? These are like
this is the command that someone would write to stop the bot. They would do bang, stop, like that. By the way, we use sometimes developers will use the word bang to mean an exclamation point, because that sounds, you can say it faster, and also it sounds like you're some sort of cowboy or something.
Yeah, I actually have no idea where bang for exclamation point came from. That's
Oh, there's a whole bunch of them, right? There's like bang, there's hash rocket, right? That's a hash rocket.
yeah.
There's spaceship, which is this.
I actually haven't heard that one.
Hash, of course. And shebang is that. So, yeah.
Cool. So yeah, so essentially like, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so in any case, let me just check. Did I change something in this code? No, I didn't. Okay. So it's just giving me squigglies for some reason.
Method
has no argument.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
so,
that's a Python linting thing. Somewhere in here, they're saying that it needs to have an argument. I don't agree with that. I don't think it needs to. I'm going to change that linting rule at some point. Or it's something in VS Code somewhere that's saying...
Yeah, I think it like by default wants you to have a self passed into every method argument to start. So like the start of every method should be self, and then like the things that you want to do.
Except this bit of code is all static, right?
Oh yeah.
So it doesn't need to have self. So we don't need it that way.
For sure. Yeah, it's probably just like linter settings.
Yeah. Hashtag stop the bot. Yeah, you could make it like this. Hashtag stop the bot. And now whenever someone does it hashtag, it will actually stop the bot.
And And then I'll see there's a validation in here as well, checking to see whether or not the user is an admin.
Yes, there's a validate admin only. How did I go about doing that? I'm trying to remember now. So that was, this allows it so that only admins can stop the bot. If I didn't want admins there, I could put nothing. And I could put any number of other things in here, you know. Blue-haired hippos, I don't know. Put whatever I want. Now, still, the code doesn't know what a blue-haired hippo is. It doesn't even know what an admin is. This is more like a little flag. So in the commander, I think is how I do that. So all these commands get loaded up into the commander right here. And it listens for commands. And so it's going to, while the IRC chat is still running, it's going to be constantly connecting or checking for what the last message is. And then when it does, it's going to sleep for a certain amount of time so that it doesn't just run the system dry, checking all the time. It'll check, I think I have it set as like once every 120th of a second at the moment. We could change that. And then for testing, I actually do 1/100,000th of a second so that it'll go through it real fast. But that's another reason, to use self.sleep so that you don't have to do that. So if the last response is not the connection's last response, so it's going to be asking the connection about what it's getting, respond to the new last message. So when we respond to that new last message, we're going to set the last response to the connection's last response, so that way we don't accidentally, run the same command multiple times. And then I have tests around this to prove that. And then we're just going to go through some validations here, process the command with validations. If admin only, validate admin. Otherwise, just run it. We're going to log it, and then we're going to run it. So if that admin only flag isn't in there, log it and run it. So that means that I could put anything else in that list, and it doesn't care until I start actually having some sort of conditional in here for that. That's not a good way to go forever. At some point, I would need to refactor that. But that's what that admin only is doing. And so when we validate the admin, we still get this. We have our callback still in there. And if we lowercase the name with my function called Mr. Lower, there was originally a function called Mr. Clean, which cleaned it completely, but it also took out all the spaces, and I wanted to keep those spaces in there because that's important for the username. So now I have a Mr. Clean and then a Mr. Lower.
Nice.
Yeah. If the name of the username, if I put it into lowercase, is in the list of admins that I have, then go ahead and run the command. Otherwise, just report that this was a bad command and log that. And say like, hey, someone tried to make a command and that was not good. So if I go to messages, I should be able to find that in there too. Now you see, like all of this was refactored off of that one 500-line long piece of code, and it looked that you might think like, well, that's simpler. Yeah, there's a lot going on though, as you can see, as I'm building this thing out. So in our terminal, this is the things that will be logged onto this rather than the Twitch chat, which is commands that are things that get said to Twitch. So you see these look much more like, user-friendly. Get the round started, things like that. But this one, we have our various question loading problem, bad admin. Okay, so we're going to return whoever the username is, try to issue a command, but they are not on the admin list. So that would show up on whoever is running the thing on the terminal. So I think we could at least change one thing in here. If you're ready to make a change, Byron.
Yeah, let's do it.
This code right here is not being used for anything anymore.
Okay.
What if we just deleted this whole thing? All 500 lines. We don't need it. It's still in version control. We can come back and get it if we need it. It's not like it's gone forever.
Yeah, I mean, you sure you don't want to like comment all of it out and leave it there forever?
I could, but what would the use be? Like, granted, the reason that this was here before was because there was a show, and the show is coming back in October. And that show is called Crockpot Cinema. Crockpot Cinema used this code to run their trivia sessions. But by deleting this, it's sort of like, burning the ships at the shore like Cortez. What Cortez did was terrible. Okay, moving on. We're going to delete
History
this.
lesson.
I just wanted to point out that coding Koans does not support Spanish conquistadors, nor imperialization and colonization of native lands. In all seriousness, no, we don't.
Yeah, just put that right in like bold on the front of the page.
All right. Right. So we deleted that. We deleted the whole thing. And it looks like somehow there's some commands that got in there still.
Yeah, so the commands one, I'm pretty sure that's due to misnaming the admin string. I couldn't remember what it was before, but I knew that it, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Good memory. Man,
Yeah.
nice. Now it shouldn't do that. I'm going to quit out of this adding thing, try it again, and we should see, yep, we just deleted this massive, massive file. Do we want this? Yes, we do. Okay. And there we are, deleted. Let's use Git Duet, and I think I have you in here, unless I don't. Let's see. Is that your author and your email?
That's me.
Okay. I'm sorry, I just publicly posted your email to everybody online.
Yeah, it's all good. As long as you all don't spam me, feel free to shoot me with, I don't know, like cool things.
Cool things. Yeah. All right, cool. So we're just going to move on from there. Let's see here. Roy Janik says, how could you support Cortez? So now we're going to do Git Duet Commit, and this is going to allow for both of us to have credit for this.
Sweet. Yeah, actually, I've heard of this. I haven't used it before.
Burn the ships at the shore.
And for the
Koans does not support the actions of Cortez. This is a cheeky commit message. This is not how we would do it normally.
all right, yeah.
We're going to put that right here.
For those of you who plan to at some point write real production code and stuff and like actual commits, writing burn the ships at the shore in your commit message, probably not the most descriptive. There you go. Yeah, so what Ian's doing here is he's making the first line the thing that you really care about. And that's the thing that's going to stand out when you're going through to read the commit messages. But then under these bullet points, he's adding a bit more detail about what exactly happened, such as the last remnants of the Old Republic being swept away. So yeah, come for reading some commit messages, get a history lesson.
Koans does not support the actions of Grand Moff Tarkin.
Yeah.
It's important.
Glad we're able.
What Grand Moff Tarkin did was really, really bad. He blew up an entire planet that was peaceful.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. Yeah, just gotta condemn and move on.
You do. Which also could end up in this commit message, but I'm stopping now. I'm stopping. So then we're gonna git push. Oh, wait, we don't know what branch we're on. Let me make sure I'm on the right branch. Game tracks player scores. That's not the branch we want to be on. No, let's go ahead and just put it in here anyway. It's fine. We only have so much time. So
I was
normally,
gonna say you could also just do a quick checkout branch.
Oh yeah, we could.
And then like push from there. Dash B.
Dash B. What's the name of our branch?
Good question. Delete. What was the name of this code?
Delete Cortez.
There you go.
Actually, let's delete Tarkin instead. Just because I don't want to get too political here. So here's our new branch, delete Tarkin. Git log. This is going to show our thing. Yep, it's there. Okay. If I git push, it's going to tell me good. I need to git push set upstream origin delete Tarkin. Copy that. Put it in here. Enter. Now this is going to have a number of things on it that shouldn't be there, but okay, whatever. I'm fine with that. Normally I would spend some time fussing around with that. My computer is starting to get slow, which means that our connection could be compromised. So just to warn you guys. Roy Janik says, how could you support Grand Moff Tarkin? So let's go back to this. We should have now put it up onto Git. No, that's the wrong one. This is the right one. And now when we go to code, delete Tarkin. Let's submit a pull request for that.
How could we support this? Get this out of here. You know what he did?
And look, here's our last commit that has delete the old Twitch trivia bot, which includes all of our stuff here. This is all stuff I don't want, but I'm not going to do a rebase right now to do that. I'm just going to have it check. It's going to it's in process doing a test for that, and hopefully I can merge this into the master branch after that. And that's pretty much it.
Sweet.
Okay, so what did we learn today?
So many things.
So many things, such a number of things. One of which is to not support conquistadors or imperial governors that, regardless of how talented they happen to be.
Yeah, we talked about a bit about the single responsibility principle.
Single responsibility principle, yeah.
Yeah, from the solid principles. We answered a question on code comments and went a bit in detail about that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then and also like walking through the test suite to talk about how one time.sleep can affect the the runtime of your tests.
True. Yeah.
And briefly touched upon how spies are used or are currently being used in the test suite as well.
Right. And it looks like in the time it took for us to talk about that, all the checks have passed. It just checked and ran the tests online, and those are good. We got a nice green check mark here, so I'm just going to go ahead and merge this pull request. Confirm
Sweet.
that merge. Bam. And now I can delete the branch that says delete Tarkin. No one shall ever know. Actually, it's still there.
Unless they come back and look at this close pull request.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I just merged it onto the wrong branch, I think. Weird. How did I do that? Oh, that's creepy. I didn't know that could happen. I'm
You
on
can
the wrong code.
restore.
It's fine. We'll fix it later. Byron, last comments. Let me ask you two questions. First of all, what's the most important thing to remember about being a software developer?
The most important thing to remember about being a software developer. It's a great question. I would probably say no software developer is an island. I think like a big part of what we do tends to be siloed and make us feel siloed, like we're the only
Siloed meaning
person.
isolated, right? Like by yourself.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that any great developer, in my opinion, utilizes the people around them, whether it's like in person or virtually, to either ask for help or just to rubber duck, which is a terminal, like it's a name used for just like talking out a problem with someone. And yeah, so I guess that's your rubber duck.
Yeah.
A little fluffy monster. But yeah, that's probably nice. Yeah, it's probably one of the number one tips that I give just so many people, both junior and experienced. I found it's funny. I find myself reminding people of this who have like 5, 10+ years experience, and they tend to forget it themselves as well.
So if someone was to start becoming a software developer today and they wanted to teach themselves how to become a software developer, where would they start?
Yeah, so this my answer for that kind of ties into my first answer with not like isolating yourself, and that is immerse yourself in other organizations that exist within the software development community. So go to sites like this, for example, in this Discord channel, and like meetup.com and with Eventbrite, and search for software development meetup groups, right? So, and the goal with that is to surround yourself with like-minded people whom are both junior or experienced or whatever the case may be, so that you can one get some extra help so that you aren't in this just by yourself, and two, you can attend these events because what they hopefully will do, what they've done for me in the past and a bunch of other people, is to just like provide a spark of inspiration for doing more, right? And like opening up your mind to other things and other opportunities. Yeah. So yeah, so that would be one of my main pieces of advice there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can't I can't second that hard enough. Go out, find places where you're the worst. Stay there. Do not be afraid to show up. And there are going to be plenty of people who will want to help you, because we're a surprisingly helpful community most of the time. The few times we're not, just don't listen to that stuff. Just there are plenty of people who want to help. So. Cool. So the next thing that is going to happen on Outpost 13 is tonight. We're going to have the return of Made Up Music. And Made Up Music is a show that's kind of like this one a little bit, in the sense that two people are going to get together and they're going to make up a song right there on the spot. They've got 3 hours to do it. I really like to listen to them while I'm coding, actually. So if you got inspired to maybe write some of your own code or submit a pull request to any of the projects that we're talking about, by all means do so, and you can keep listening to Made Up Music while you do it. They're going to be on in about an hour from now, so I'll be in the chat for that. So I hope to see you guys there. And with that, I think we're going to go ahead and close this session out. Say goodbye, Byron.
All right. Later, everyone. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah. Good seeing you guys. And, I don't know, stay frosty. Is that a thing I can say? I don't.
Keep on keeping.
At your hour of death, don't shake. Don't shake in your boots, no, don't you fret. Cause I'm gonna take you down where the beats are pumping. Down to hell where the lava's jumping. In the mountain, lava's jumping. Down to hell where the lava's jumping.
Let yourself fall, cause you'll only get higher. Let yourself drop like a bee on fire. Living half dead, so you might as well drop. The f***ers can't find you, the beat don't stop. The beat don't stop. It'll never stop. I walk this life. The only steps I can. Steps too high. I'm just a man. I walk this life. The only steps I can. Steps too high. I'm just a man.
When you start saying, a mountain is a mountain, a river is a river. But when in Zen, a mountain is not a mountain, a river is not a river. After learning Zen, a mountain is a mountain, and a river is a river.